Hello, everyone. Welcome to Developmental Psychology, DEP 2004. I am Dr. Rivera. Now, some traits are genetic, but they aren't mutations that are being passed down. They are, in fact, um, chromosomal. That is, there is an issue with the way your chromosomes were split, and you either have too many or too few. Now, for the most part, if your chromosomes are split incorrectly, most of the time that means that pregnancy will not be viable and the mom will end up having a miscarriage. Um, but not always. Sometimes an extra chromosome or one less chromosome can still lead to a viable pregnancy. Um, Down syndrome occurs like this. So, in Down syndrome, if mom or dad end up passing down an extra chromosome in the 21st pair, then that pregnancy will still be viable. Now, instead of having 46 chromosomes, that is 23 pairs, the individual will end up with 47 because instead of having a pair of that 21st chromosome, they in fact have three of them. Now, Down syndrome comes with a very specific set of symptoms. The individual tends to have a more rounded face, a protruding tongue. That means a tongue that doesn't exactly fit completely in their mouth. And so they often have to have their tongue hang out just a tiny bit. A broader, flatter nose, and sloping folds of skin over their inner corners of their eyes. Another thing that comes with Down syndrome is some cognitive development issues. Specifically, in childhood, this individual is going to have a harder time um, keeping up with their peers, with their age peers. And in fact, they're going to start sort of falling behind. They'll probably, instead of learning to sit up by around the fourth month, they'll probably start sitting up around year one. Instead of being able to walk by year one, they'll probably start being able to walk by year two. Instead of being able to start talking by year one, they'll probably start talking by around year three. Now, I think it's important to point out that the individual developer, the person developing with Down syndrome, and the society that they live in play a big role in how this person grows up. There used to be a time where a child with Down syndrome wasn't really educated because people said, well, they have a cognitive disorder, or back then they might have said they have a mental retardation, and they can't learn. That people really felt that way, and so they didn't put them in school, or if they did go to school, they went to special classes where they didn't learn as much as they should have, and so now they're adults and they don't really know how to take care of themselves, and they don't really know just normal things that a normal adult should be able to know. And that's not something that all people with Down syndrome will deal with. If an individual has the right resources, that is, mom and dad who help out, they put them in schools where teachers help, and they help the child develop through their developmental cycle, not their peers, but their developmental cycle. Um, in fact, people with Down syndrome can grow up to have maybe not a completely normal level of cognitive development, but certainly a much higher level than if they're not educated. Um, and so today, there are people with Down syndrome who own businesses, who are actors and actresses, who have degrees. There is not too long ago, the first woman with Down syndrome became a teacher in Brazil. She's a kindergarten teacher. And you're going to see individuals like this throughout your life, and especially because now more people have the resources and the education to know that people with Down syndrome can in fact live very fulfilling lives, even if they're not perfectly comparable to someone without Down syndrome. They will be fulfilling lives that they can live on their own. Um, More and more parents take care to make sure that their children get all the resources that they need. But unfortunately, if you're a mom and dad with a child with Down syndrome, you have to fight for that. Um, it's very easy for a teacher or a school to say, oh, we're just going to put them in special classes. And it's usually mom and dad who have to say, no, I need my child to be in normal classes, to be included, and to learn and to have a high level of education so that they can become independent adults, or at least some level of independence in their adulthood. Now, another set of chromosomes that sometimes get split incorrectly, but can still lead to viable pregnancies, is going to be the X and the Y chromosome. Now, I already mentioned that you cannot have just a Y chromosome. One Y chromosome will not be viable. And an XY chromosome means that you are a healthy genetic male. A person that ends up having two X chromosomes and one Y chromosome um, has what we call Clinfelter's syndrome. Now, this can happen both ways. Mom's ovum has two X chromosomes in it, and then dad's sperm has one Y chromosome, or it could be that mom's ova has one X chromosome, quote unquote normal, and dad's sperm ended up splitting incorrectly and it has an X and a Y. So either of those versions will end up with Klinefelter syndrome. And children with Klinefelter syndrome are going to have much less testosterone. They're going to be male, by the way. That Y chromosome will make them male. They're going to have smaller testicles. Their hips and their breast are going to look more like a female's hips and more like a female's breast. And the pubic hair pattern might also end up being more like a female's. Uh, Again, because of the lack of testosterone, that might lead to poorer beard growth. Now, I don't have a picture of double Y syndrome, but these individuals are sometimes called super males. This individual is going to have uh, look mostly normal, and there are going to be some behavioral issues that you might notice. They might have a harder time paying attention. They might have a harder time with language skills. They might be more active, stronger, and sometimes more aggressive. Now, a female can have just one X chromosome. Now, let me first look at the top here. If a genetic female has two X chromosomes, that is a healthy genetic female. That is normal, quote unquote. One X chromosome is called a Turner syndrome. People with Turner syndrome tend to have a shorter stature. They tend to have hands that hang incorrectly next to them. You know, when you let your hands hang next to you, the palms of your hand usually will face your thigh. That is, if you just let them hang naturally, the palm will face your thigh, they will face your body. But people with Turner syndrome, when they let their hands hang, there is a deformity in the elbow. And the palms of their hand, in fact, face forward. You'll notice also there is often a problem with the neck. The neck tends to be much broader, um, and there is a bit of a fold of skin there, which is more easy to see in the black and white picture. They're going to have issues with their heart, specifically the aorta, poor breast development, and there will be issues with their ovaries. These individuals often will be infertile and they will not be able to have children of their own, not naturally. Now, on the other hand, triple X syndrome occurs very seldom, but these people have normal appearance, but they tend to show lower than average language skills and poorer memory. Again, it doesn't show quite as obviously in the physiological traits. It shows a little bit more in some of the cognitive traits. All right, everyone. Thanks for watching. Let me know if you have any questions. And remember that the best way to contact me is directly through Canvas. I hope to hear from you soon.